A wonderful good morning, good day, good evening, wherever in the world you are. And a huge welcome to this very, very special session today. My name is Gaby Burt. I'm International Director for The Journey. I have been with The Journey in Brandon Base for 25 plus years now. And this little program is something that we created to kind of bring special issues, special topics and themes into every household. And as we have the holiday season coming up very, very soon, our theme and topic for this time round was actually to talk about family issues, things that we may not have addressed in the past, or things that may kind of have been pushed under the carpet and somehow we're meant to be all jolly, friendly, nice and everything. And so I've actually asked Brandon if she will come. So this format for today is a little different because I've asked Brandon to come and join us and actually do a kind of a little workshop with us of how we can make a difference, this year. So first of all, before I say any more, thank you first of all, and I really would love to welcome Brandon. Thank you so much for joining me here today, Brandon. You are in Australia at the moment. I'm still here in sunny Greece this morning, so it's already evening where you are. And I can't thank you enough for taking this time and to kind of be with us and talk a little bit about the issues that we can all expect, or for so many of us can be quite real, you know. And I mean, I'm first of all, for myself, I know that you know, I'm the second wife. So there are children from a first marriage, even though we've been married for over 40 years now. But Christmas has always been a challenging time for us. It's like, which day are we supposed to see the children? And then everything is meant to be festive and nice and happy. And even in my own family in Austria, there have been issues where some stuff got just swept under the carpet. And these times when you come together, that's when we want to be real. We want to be authentic. And if you are hearing this, if you are with us today, then you obviously already know about the journey. You already know about Brandon, and you know about the work that we do. And we want to be real. We want to be true to ourselves. We want to be connected and real to those we love, to those we're around with. And so today's session is especially about all of that. So Brandon, let me stop talking here and let you share a little bit, and then I will hand over this whole program to you today. But first of all, thank you. It's so lovely to see you.
Oh, so lovely to see you, Gaby, and a heartfelt welcome to everyone and happy holidays. And, you know, this morning I was writing a newsletter all about how there's such an expectation during this time of the year that we're finally going to come together with family. With the pandemic, it may have been 3 years since we've seen some of our closest friends, even hugged them or had a chance to embrace our relatives. And so it's a time of great expectation, an expectation that we bring with us the joy, the love, the missing that we have. And yet, when they're unaddressed, buried issues inside, they can stand like a wall between us and our loved ones. And it kind of, the holidays throw a spotlight on our relationships with our family, our relatives, and with our dearest, longest friends. And it is a time when we're supposed to feel this connection, when we're supposed to feel so much love and joy in being together, a time to celebrate life together and to celebrate love together. And yet these unmet issues, they're buried inside of us. And in fact, what science has found, and you may know this already, is that when we feel a strong emotion and we repress it, it releases a quantifiable biochemistry into our bloodstream, which will go to certain cell receptors and block those cells, rendering those cells incapable of communicating with the rest of the cells in the body. And if over time illness happens, well, of course it happens where the cells are blocked. But these old cell memories, the unaddressed issues, the unvoiced pain, the unexpressed emotions, when we shut them down, when we're at the peak of an emotional experience and we shut them down, that whole consciousness, that cell memory, the unexpressed, unvoiced feelings get stored in a particular part of our body. And when those old cells die away, that consciousness, that memory, that programming, those unexpressed words, unexpressed emotions, unvoiced things that we needed to say at the time that we didn't say at the time, when those old cells die off with the programming stored inside, they pass on the programming to the next cell generation. And so this programming gets passed from one cell generation to the next, the next, the next. And what happens is these old issues, which may be from our childhood even, they may not even have anything to do with the person that we're having resentment with, or we're feeling hurt by, or we're feeling misunderstood by. It may not even have anything to do with them. It may be something from when we were 8 years old. And we shut down. And then what happens is life conspires to confirm that issue. And people show up in our life and they confirm that very issue that we shut down when we were a child. And it's something very simple. Like you can be in traffic, and during the holiday time, I know today I got stuck in traffic and there was one car that cut us off. And inevitably, up comes the rage. And I know the person in the car didn't put that rage there. That rage is already buried inside. And all that driver does is push the button and vroom, up comes the rage. And so what happens with our loved ones is the holiday times are a time when our buttons get pushed. And they get pushed big time. And these old unmet issues that may not have anything to do with that person, they come roaring to the surface and they get projected out. Now, at the same time that that's happening, we know that we're supposed to be loving, caring, forgiving. It's the holidays after all. This is a time where we may not have seen people in a long time, especially since the pandemic has been going on and the lockdowns have been happening and the borders have been closed. And so it's a time where we feel we have to be putting on our best face, really trying to create an atmosphere of holiday cheer. And it feels so false. And it gets very awkward because others can sense that it's not real. And we can sense that they also are kind of fabricating and manufacturing this holiday cheer. And our buttons are getting pushed more and more because we're not being authentic. They're not being authentic. Plus, they pissed me off in the past. I'm resentful about what they've done. We've never talked this through. And I'm stumm. I'm just pretending it's all okay. And it's so not okay. And then something takes place where someone says something and vroom, it erupts. And people get hurt. Things get said that don't reflect at all how we feel about people. They're just a moment where we're letting the steam off, the pressure off. And so the holidays can feel like a pressure cooker. And it's antithetical to a time where it's supposed to be a time of shared love and joy. And so then we make ourselves guilty and we punish ourselves, beating ourselves up inside, criticizing ourselves. Why can't we get in the holiday spirit? And then we may end up going to a Christmas party with our colleagues at work or our friends or with our family. And because of this shutdown, because of these walls, these defenses that we've erected unknowingly and involuntarily, we start feeling so isolated. we feel lonely, and it really puts the highlight on the fact that we're with the people who love us most, who we most care about. And yet we're feeling so alone and disconnected. And that's why so often there are suicides during the holidays, because no one gave us a manual how to deal with this feeling of isolation and disconnection in the face of a situation or a circumstance where we should be feeling love or joy or ease or connection. And so it's such an important time that we really get real and we go inside and we uncover these old buried cell memories, these old emotional issues, these unspoken words that we swept under the carpet, as Gabby said, that we pushed away, that we denied were even there, that we thought we could just, sweep them away and carry on with our lives. But that's not how it works. What happens is those buried issues are stored there. Life pushes our button and it erupts, or it just leaks out. And it comes out in a side of surliness and nastiness, a sarcasm. And if you recognize that that's been happening, either with a loved one who's doing that, or you yourself who you feel like you're holding it back, but you can't help it, you say something snarky, and you feel so shitty for having done that. You apologize, but still that issue is stored there. And so I thought on this particular Real Talk, instead of it being a discussion about how these things happen for all of us and why scientifically they're going on for all of us, I thought it'd be a wonderful time to just do a little guided introspection here. And if you'll just play along with me as if it's, what have you got to lose except some old resentment? And you've got everything to gain from bringing up to the surface what's really going on for you. Because I know if you're like me, as long as I have unspoken issues, unshared pain, it stands between me and my loved ones like a wall. And no matter how much love I feel for that person, nor matter how much love they are expressing to me, the love can't get in and the love can't get out. And I know you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I thought it'd be wonderful. Just let your awareness cast back over the last days, weeks, even months, where you have been with a loved one and they said something, did something. Maybe they shut you down or ignored you or said something harsh, and you had a reaction. You either froze or you shut down or you retreated behind into yourself or you withdrew from them entirely. Or even worse, you may have erupted yourself and spoken words back that you're not proud of, that you wish you'd never said. And yet you can't take back the hurt that caused. And you can't get rid of the words that they spoke. So I'd like you to just let your awareness cast back over the last days, weeks, months, and go back to a time, and let's close our eyes right now and go back to a time where you may have had an unhealthy reaction to something someone said or did or didn't do, or something they ignored or dismissed. And go back to that specific memory where you reacted against that, where someone said something and there was a reaction of hurt or shutdown or withdrawal or defendedness, fighting back. Go back to that specific time. It may have even been yesterday, and imagine stepping into that memory and go to the exact moment where some sort of reaction happened. You either froze and were paralyzed by what was said or done or not done, or you shut down, or somehow you withdrew, or you got defensive and fought back. But go to that specific memory where the reaction happened and go right into the moment where you reacted and feel what you were feeling at that time as the reaction was happening. Were you frozen in fear? Were you shut down and incapable to feel? Did you withdraw into yourself to escape? Did you defend by shouting back at them? What was your reaction? How did you feel? What did it feel like to react in that way? And now let's do a little experiment here. Let's roll the cameras back to that millisecond right before you reacted, to the impulse to react. And roll the cameras back to that millisecond right before the impulse to react happened. And just open up and feel what you were really feeling before the impulse to react. What were you really feeling? Just open with that. And even if you're not sure what you were feeling, what might you have been feeling at that time before the impulse to react happened? Just kind of open and stretch and expand. What are you feeling prior to the impulse to react? And surrounding whatever this feeling is with your own acceptance, and open now and ask, what's even deeper than this more surface emotion? What's even deeper? And if there were a deeper emotion there, what might it be? It may be very quiet, so just staying open. And if there were a deeper feeling there, what might it be? And now, going even deeper into the core of that emotion and just asking, what is even deeper here? In the core of that emotion. And just feel yourself just opening and willing to open with whatever that deeper feeling is. And just allowing it there. And just bathing it, surrounding whatever feelings are here and also whatever's not here with your own acceptance, with your own love. Taking a nice deep breath in, letting it out, and another nice deep breath in. And sighing it out. And you can open your eyes now into this moment that's here. And so I trust you uncovered something, some emotion, some feeling that when you went deeper, there may have been something beneath that and something beneath that. And these feelings, these emotions are directly connected to cell memories stored inside of our body, where at some point, could have been yesterday, could have been when you were 2 years old, something took place and a shutdown happened. Biochemistry was released. And this consciousness, this emotion, the unexpressed words, the programming got stored inside your cells. And that programming is being passed on from one cell generation to the next up until now. And so all that happened in this current recent memory was that person pushed your button and rum, up came your defenses. But as we opened prior to any defendedness, we discovered there was a deeper emotion that was causing us to react in that way, to defend in that way, to shut down in that way, or withdraw in that way. Now, all of us, I can't take you through the whole journey process, which I would love to do, but that's a 3-day immersion in the Journey Intensive online. And so I can't take you into that, but I love to give you some tools that you can use now that you've uncovered that actually these emotions are inside of you. That person didn't create your emotion. It was already there. All you did was defend against feeling it. And so I'd like to take you into a little process where you really invite someone who you're having a little issue with right now, someone who you care about, who you would like to have a more quality relationship with them, someone who you know that you've got stuff with and you would love to clear it, especially prior to the holidays where you may need to meet them. And you want to have an open heart with that person. But while this old junk is hanging out there, buried inside of you, that knee-jerk response of defending, putting up your armor, pushing back or withdrawing or freezing is always there. It's an automatic, involuntary response. And so I'd like to invite you into a little process right now where you're going to have a chance to invite one person, just one person, who you know that the relationship isn't fully free, it isn't whole, that you've got stuff between the two of you. And just have a chance to give yourself a voice in a safe context and give them a voice. And so if you just play along, just do it as a divine experiment. And always at the end of these little campfires that we do, I offer the opportunity for you to forgive the other person, to forgive life, God, and to forgive yourself. And I found with my own self that when true forgiveness is fully here and my heart is completely surrendering and offering whole forgiveness, that's when I let go of the old story of pain, my old story of shut down defendedness, and something opens up inside of me, and that forgiveness allows me to be neutral in a place where my heart is allowed to be open. And I can feel, doesn't mean that I feel overjoyed with that person, doesn't mean that I have overwhelming love with that person, but what it means is I'm now neutral about it. And I can respond then healthily. And if it's a person that I do love, it allows my heart to reopen and really embrace the whole of who that person is in complete acceptance. So without giving you any further preamble, why don't we just do this divine experiment, this guided introspection? So let's take a nice deep breath in, letting it out, and closing your eyes, and taking a deep breath in of openness and breathing that into your room. And the willingness just to try this divine experiment and breathing that into the room. And trust. Trust in yourself, trust in your soul, trust in life, trust in your own heart. Breathing trust into the room. And now the willingness to be fully transparent, to be exposed to what's really going on. This innocent honesty, this open exposure. Breathing that into your room. And now letting your heart be as wide as the world. Wide enough to welcome everything that lives inside of you. That's how vast this vast open sky of all acceptance is. And it's vast and spacious, free and endless in front. Boundlessly spacious behind. It's infinitely free to all sides. And you're just resting now in a vast, open sky of all love, all acceptance. And into this open sky, imagining now that you're sitting at a campfire. And the nature of this campfire is made of unconditional love. And sitting at this campfire is a younger you, which can be really any age range from 0 right up to now. And of course, the present day you is sitting there. And let's invite a mentor whose divine wisdom you trust. It can be a sage, saint, enlightened master, angel, but someone in whose divine presence you feel safe, in whose wisdom you trust. Also welcoming to this fire, someone who you really do want to heal with, someone you care about, and yet you're aware that there's something between the two of you that's unresolved. So welcoming this person to the campfire and speak their name out loud. Just whisper it out loud into your room right now, as if you're calling them here into the room. So whisper their name out loud. And everyone is sitting here by this fire of unconditional love. And I'd like to speak now to the younger you. And the younger you has probably got some pent-up feelings, some unvoiced words, has been defended in some way, or walled off, or shut down, or withdrawn in some way. And the younger you needs to be given a chance to first of all share with this person who you care about what it's been like for you to feel that you're not safe, that you're defending against them. And so on the count of 3, and you have to do it out loud, otherwise this process doesn't work because all the words stay inside of you. So on the count of 3, just voice out loud to this other person sitting there listening at the campfire what it's been like for you internally, how you may have felt that you care deeply for them, and yet there's something that's holding you back from being real with them. And there's been some things that have taken place and where you've gotten hurt. And now you don't know how to stop it, but there's a defendedness showing up. Or however you wish to express the dynamic that's going on between the two of you. So on the count of 3, just begin expressing it out loud. And you probably won't even know what you're saying until it actually comes out of your mouth. And so let's start. 1, 2, 3. Saying those things that you've been too afraid to say. Sharing what it's been like to feel like you have to defend yourself or withdraw. And if there's a specific event that took place that triggered this defendedness, well, share with them what specifically happened and how you shut down or withdrew or shouted back, and that you've been closed off ever since. Share the specific context in which this shutdown happened. 1, 2, 3, keep speaking. Now asking yourself, what did I really feel at that time that the shutdown happened? And just with open honesty, share what you really felt at the time. And let them drink the words in. Whatever's spoken, let it bypass their personality or their ego and let the words go in deeply. And now saying what I've never been willing to tell you is that I finish that sentence. I never felt I could truly express what's here. Keep speaking out, emptying out. Okay. Now, knowing that this other person was probably doing the best that they could with the resources they had emotionally at the time, if they could respond not from their ego or their personality or their habitual patterns, but if they could respond from that deeper place, having really drunk in all that you've said, if they could respond from that deeper place inside, what would they respond to you? And voice out loud what they would want to voice right now. 1, 2, 3. What would they respond to you? Speak the words on their behalf. What was going on for them at the time? And now drink in their words. You have to do this out loud, otherwise it has no impact at all. Speak out on their behalf, their response to what you've just shared. And you drink in their words. And if you could respond to that, what would you say to them? Really open your heart, get it off your chest, out of your cells. Be willing to go for it. On the count of 3, speak whatever words still need to come out. 1, 2, 3. If they could really drink those words in, and it could bypass their personality and go deep inside, what would they respond from that deeper place? And again, on the count of 3, voice out what they want to say. 1, 2, 3. Voice it out loud. Okay. And now I'd like to ask the younger you to do an unexpected thing. I'd like to ask the younger you to go inside this other person and really feel what they were feeling at that time inside themselves, about life. What were they really feeling at that time? And on the count of 3, just speak out loud. What were they really feeling at that time? 1, 2, 3. And if you were to open with them and go even deeper into the core of that more surface emotion, what were they feeling at a deeper level? Just speak it out now. And even if you're not sure what they were feeling, what might they have been feeling? Just speak it out. And then open and go even deeper to the rock bottom. How were they genuinely feeling about themselves, about life? How were they feeling in their deepest part of them? And once again, voice what they were feeling out loud. Okay. Now I'd like to ask you to let the younger you step inside the heart of this person. into their heart of hearts, into the best part of them, where this love is, where this joy is, where this connection is. We all have this same love inside. So step inside their heart of hearts. And now looking out through their eyes at that younger you, from their heart of hearts, from their soul, how were they really feeling about you at that time? From their heart of hearts. They may not have had connection to it, but nonetheless, the same love exists inside all of us. So looking out through their eyes at the younger you, how were they genuinely feeling from their heart of hearts about you? Speak out loud what that is. And now step outside that person, merging with that younger you, and open your heart and receive a lifetime of the love that that person was incapable or unable to give to you at the time. Even though their heart of hearts felt it, what they were going through at that time made it impossible for them to connect with their souls, connect with their hearts. So right now, divorce from this feeling all that they were going through at the time, and just allow the purity of their love, their acceptance, to flood in and fill every cell of that younger you. And if you had anything to reply to that, what would you say to that? If you could say anything to them, that finally this that was genuinely there in their heart of hearts is flooding into you, filling the cells of the younger you, divorcing from that light all the pain that they were in at the time, the struggles they were having, and just allowing the pure love in. What would you say to them about that? And if they could respond, what would they say? Say it out loud. This all has to be done out loud. If they could say anything to you right now, what would they say to you? And just receive that. And now I'd like to go to the present day you. And just ask the present day you, the you sitting here, if it had anything to say to that younger you or to that other person. What would the present day you say to this other person? You've heard the whole discussion that's gone on between the younger you and this person. And if the present day you could say anything, what would the present day you say? On the count of 3, just voice it out loud. 1, 2, 3. And if they could respond, what would they respond to that? From that deeper place, on the count of 3, voice that out loud on their behalf. 1, 2, 3. And if the mentor has anything to say about this entire conversation, If the mentor were to speak, what would the mentor say? On the count of 3, speak that out loud. They may not have anything to say, but if they do, you can voice that out loud. And now, turning to the younger you, and I'd like you to ask the younger you, even though you may not condone the behavior of this other person, even though you may not find what they did acceptable on any level of being, I'd like to ask the younger you if you'd finally, wholeheartedly be willing to forgive this other person, to forgive the soul of this other person. And if you are willing to forgive, let the younger you speak your own words out of forgiveness on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Speak out your words of forgiveness to this other soul. And then I'd like to ask the present day you, even though you may not condone their behavior, even though it may not be acceptable by any level or standard, I'd like to ask if you'd be willing to forgive the soul of this other person. And if so, speak it out loud in your own words on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And then if you need to be forgiven for anything, let them speak out words of forgiveness. 1, 2, 3. And now making a prayer that somehow they will come to wholly forgive themselves. And thanking them for their presence there. And let them merge into the light with this forgiveness, bathing both of you. And now there's the younger you in front of you and the present day you. And I'd like you to say these words to the younger you. I'm so sorry for all the previous pain and misunderstandings. I promise you will never have to go through that previous pain again. Because from now on, I will love you and I will protect you. And you can have access to this love, this understanding, this wisdom anytime you like. And I wholeheartedly forgive you. And I too ask to be forgiven. All forgiveness is here. And now embracing that younger you, letting the younger you merge inside of you and grow up now in this love, in this wisdom, in this understanding, and in this forgiveness. And now you and your mentor, you can receive any final advice you might like to receive from your mentor. It's up to you. Sometimes they just smile. And the two of you can merge now into the light, into this vast open sky of all acceptance that's infinitely vast in front of you, boundlessly free and spacious behind you, infinitely vast to all sides of you, boundless below, sky-like above. And you're just resting now in this field of acceptance, of love, in all forgiveness. Taking a nice deep breath in, letting it out. And you can open your eyes now into this love. And let's take another nice deep breath in. And sighing it out. And one more nice deep breath in. And sighing it out. And if the eyes have not yet opened, this is your invitation to open your eyes now. And the eyes will open now. Okay. So, beloveds, this was just a tiny, tiny toe dip into the possibility of finding true healing and forgiveness with your loved ones. And I pray that you will find your way to doing journey work as a natural aspect of your life, and that you'll discover the wholeness that is available inside, the peace that is here, and that you can live your holidays with an open heart, without this defendedness coming up, this wall of defendedness and pushing away those you love. And instead, you have a little set of skills now to work with everyone in your sphere, your beloveds, your dear friends, your family. And this is just the tip of the iceberg of what's available with the journey. The journey really is an invitation to come home to the love inside, to the peace, to come home to this that is your own soul. And at that deepest level, to turn the torch on inside and go on a journey inside the body, uncovering these old cell memories, this old pain, these unspoken words, to go through deep clearing and an understanding and ultimately forgiveness, so that when new cells are born, they're born devoid of that old consciousness, devoid of that old programming, as new regenerative cells. And so I hope you love yourself enough to want to invest in your own healing and healing with your loved ones in your family. And I'm so grateful, and I'm sure Gaby can share about it, that they are offering this huge special for the Christmas holidays until the end of this year, to come to the Journey Intensive and roll up your sleeves and dive in and really learn these powerfully liberating and healing tools. And so I pass you over to Gaby, and really my prayer is for everyone here that you have the most joyous holidays, full of love and ease of being, with a wide open heart, and that you cherish each moment. We are so lucky to have loved ones in our lives. And when the heart is open, it's the greatest nectar to experience this love. So, Gaby, I turn it over to you.
Thank you. Stay here for a little bit, because that was so beautiful, this exercise. It was. I actually did it with you, and I cleared some stuff with one of my granddaughters actually, and it felt so healing and clearing. And there is also stuff for me to do, you know, so it's not always about the other person, it's also
Yeah.
how we interact. And I think sometimes when we do an introspection like that, we realize we get a little bit beneath ourselves. There was a beautiful comment from one of the ladies here, Sabine. She actually wrote half in German and half in English, and that was after your first meditation. And Sabine wrote, and she said, beneath the fear was a sea or an ocean full of love. And in that moment, my muscles in the legs relaxed. Thank you so much for this session. So, you know, so these are just small kind of introspections, meditations that Brandon does so often, once a month, actually. You know, we just use this opportunity, especially with the upcoming holiday seasons, to come together. And the Journey Intensive is the first seminar where we learn tools that stay with us for the rest of our life. I have never once, I can only look back to the year of 1996 when I met you at the Journey Intensive for the first time. And it's been a huge, massive wake up call. And times have changed. You know, we offering a hugely refined seminar now. You know, back in 96, it was one way. Now it's very, very different. All
Oh, it's
available.
expanded and grown, you know, and
Oh,
become more user friendly.
Refined more and more and more. And not only that, but we can take it from the comfort of our own home. And we've also, over the last few months, because of so many of the challenges out there, the special financial pressures that so many of us have, we've actually reduced the price to something really, really silly. We're actually offering this 3-day seminar for 97 euros. It changes after the end of this year. So if you still haven't done this seminar, buy your ticket or buy a place now. Get the 97 stupid. This seminar was 597 euros actually before we came online. And it's not that it costs a lot less, but we just want more people around the world to have access to it. That's all, because we know I speak to friends around the world who I've met through the last 25, 26 years who've done the journey, and each and every one says the same. I wouldn't know what to do if I didn't have those tools. And we're all in the same boat. We are all in the same world. We have natural disasters. We have something happening in the east here in Europe between Russia, Ukraine. We don't know where it's going. We have increased bills. We have, if you have a pension or investments, it's not doing very well. So there are problems everywhere. And yet we can identify with our problems, or we can have a tool that brings us home to ourselves. And for Christmas, to come home to yourself, or for this holiday and festive season, to come to appreciate the truth of who you are, is probably one of the most beautiful gifts anyone could give themselves. It was the best gift for me in my life. And I never stop saying thank you to you, Brandon, for sharing this work. And you still do. You know, you still do in a tireless way of bringing healing, awakening to people around the world. And it's never been easier. And so that was kind of a beautiful, beautiful dipping your toes in, you know, session, and so, so precious, especially for the upcoming season. So I want to thank you with all my heart for this. And we will post some vouchers if you want to bring a friend. Perhaps you want to give a Christmas present. Anyway, this is not meant to be a sales job. This is just me being passionate. Still am after 26 years. And so thank you from the bottom of my heart, Brandon, for coming and sharing this hour with us today. And I will miss you this Christmas. I really will.
Yes. It's been a long time since when we haven't had a Christmas
I
together.
know. And it's like, oh, goodness gracious. Anyway, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And we will be sharing the recording of this also. If you want to share it with friends, you can send them to YouTube, Facebook, and we will send it out as well. So thank you once again, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Have a beautiful time. Thank you. Namaste. Thank you, Brandon.
Namaste.